That's a nightmare. I was shocked. That's how bad this gets. I had no idea how this works. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree, also known as Honey Bree if you follow me over on Instagram. I'm so glad to finally be getting back into my YouTube game. I have taken a nice hiatus from creating videos and stuff like that for multiple reasons, which I will be going over. This video will be dedicated to a little life update slash pregnancy update. I did put a question box on my Instagram story a few weeks ago where you guys asked me a few questions, and then I will also be answering some questions that I would just like to include in this video for the memes, because yeah, we'll get into that. So like I said, I did take a nice little breaky break, and the biggest reason is because we are pregnant. I am currently 25 weeks today, actually. It is a very happy surprise, and we are very excited to meet little one in November. But yeah, it was very unexpected, and I'll get more into that as we get into the video. Okay, before I start rambling, let me go ahead and get started with these questions. First question is, what were my signs and symptoms of this pregnancy, and how do they differ from my first pregnancy? What gave it away for me was the extreme exhaustion. I don't know that I have been that tired ever, even with Mason. I was sleeping more than my baby was. I was finding time to sleep while he napped and also after he napped because I was just so tired. I would sleep in, go to bed early, take long naps. It was absolutely nuts to me, and I couldn't figure it out. I was like, why am I so tired? That was a big one for me. Another thing that really kind of gave it away was my aversion to meat, which is definitely something I experienced with Mason. We had some chicken in the fridge thawed out, and I'm pretty sure I left it in the fridge for over a week because every time I thought about cooking it, I felt sick. I told Bryce, I was like, dude, I think you're gonna have to do this because I cannot. And he was confused. He was like, you can't cook this chicken? I was like, I don't think so. I think I'm gonna get sick if I do. I was like, this ain't right. And some things that I am very thankful for not experiencing with this pregnancy is the immense headaches that I did get with Mason. Yeah, I haven't had any noticeably bad headaches like I did with him. And then my boobs did not tell me. My boobs told me with Mason, and they did not tell me this time. They were extremely swollen and painful when I was pregnant with Mason, and that was not the case this time. They felt normal. They still feel pretty normal. I would say I have some nipple sensitivity some days. Some days it's not present, but other days it's like, do not touch me. I remember what was the final straw. The final straw was I was laying on the couch and Mason was climbing all over me, and he sat on my stomach, and my uterus felt extremely sensitive. I was like, yeah, we're gonna be taking a pregnancy test. Everybody loves to know what your pregnancy cravings are because there are so many unique cravings out there. And with Mason, I would definitely say I wanted sweets more than I normally do. I think I talked about it a little bit in a video before. Pregnancy brain, it will not let me know what video right now, which is also, I would say, a very big symptom of mine. I don't remember being this forgetful. If I do not write it down, it basically does not exist. My calendar is my Bible at this point because I will forget everything. I have always kind of been a list maker, but I literally forget to make a list. That's how bad this is. Going back to cravings, I would definitely say my biggest craving this pregnancy has been spicy food. I love some spicy food. Hot sauce, sriracha. If y'all have seen my Instagram stories, you will know tahini bay this entire pregnancy. I love that stuff all over the place, on everything. It's amazing. So I've had a container of tahini. I remember trying it the first time. I was like, okay, this is all right. You know, it wasn't something I was just like, oh, let me get some of that. And then I remember my first trimester, I think I was watching TikToks or Instagram reels where somebody was making tahini and chamoy covered fruit. End of story. That is what set it off for me. I was like, oh, I gotta try that. I gotta try that. I got some tahini. Let me try that. Oh my gosh, if y'all know, it goes everywhere. I put it everywhere. My husband is so sick of tasting tahini. It is not the same feelings for him as it is for me. Yeah, anyway, me and tahini, bays. Other than that, jalapenos, sriracha, I just crave spicy foods. They say that every single one of your kids is gonna be extremely different from the other. I am so interested to see. This is gonna be my little spicy baby. Other than that, I don't think I really get food aversions outside of trimester 1, which my biggest food aversion is definitely, specifically raw meat, more particularly chicken. Beef was my friend during the first trimester. I don't eat a lot of steak, so that wasn't necessarily like something I was craving or something I would eat a lot of. that, and then when you're pregnant, you know, they say don't eat undercooked meat. I like my steak pink. I just avoided that mostly altogether. Next question has to do with my pre-Mother's Day incident. So the day before Mother's Day, I had an incident where I fainted in the store on base in the BX. It was such an odd situation because I've never blacked out before. Like, that was such a unique feeling for me, and my body was like telling me like you're about to go through something, and I didn't know how to read the signs. What I remember is I left the house. Mason was with his dad here at the house, and Mason needed diapers. I went to the BX. I ran upstairs, not really ran upstairs. I went up the escalator and I went to go grab the box of diapers. That's on one side of the escalator, and then I walked to the registers on the opposite side of the escalator, so I was in there for maybe 5 minutes. And I remember standing in line and I started to feel lightheaded. And I was like, what is this? What is going on? I had breakfast that day. I wasn't training at that time because, like I said, I was extremely exhausted as it was. So I wasn't trying to expend more energy than I already was. So there was no exercise, no serious exercise going on at that point. And at this point, I didn't know I was pregnant. I think I was about 7 or 8 weeks pregnant. And I remember squatting down and thinking, oh man, I just need to sit down. Next up, this lady in front of me is talking to the cashier. They're having the best time. And I started getting aggravated. This is not characteristic of me. And this is something that many people have told me that should have been an automatic red flag. I started getting irritated because this lady in front of me had like 3-4 items, and this cashier wanted to talk about every single one of them as she was scanning them. And I was like, come on, let's go. I need to go sit down. Instead of doing that, I squatted down. I was like, okay, just breathe, you know, I'm trying to like get myself through it. And then I stand up, and next thing I know, I'm waking up, my jaw hurts, and I have like this crowd of people around me. I explained that I was pregnant and that I was feeling hot. The EMTs came to check me out. All of my vitals were fine. Long story short, even though I've already told a long story, I was fine. We chalked it up to be like a pregnancy and heat related incident. I might have been dehydrated. I don't believe that to be completely true because weeks before that, when I found out I was pregnant, I did the urine test and they told me then I was dehydrated. I had been intentionally trying to up my hydration and fluid intake. I don't necessarily believe that I was dehydrated at that point. Anyway, the verdict was that it was a heat related incident, and I was dressed warmly that day even though it was really hot and humid. So I have a nice little scar, nice little souvenir on my chin, where apparently that is where I made impact onto the floor. The people around me said that I went straight from standing up to the floor. There was no hitting anything. I was in the checkout line. I didn't grab shelves. I don't remember falling. I don't remember anything besides feeling woozy and lightheaded right before the event. I believe it was pregnancy related. I talked to my OB about it at my next appointment. You know, she re-explained to me how your pressures in your body and your body in general just changes when you're pregnant. So with it being potentially heat related, and then on top of that, pressure changes because of pregnancy, it could have very likely been pregnancy related. And like I said, I've never experienced anything like that. I'm so thankful that all I needed was a couple of stitches on my chin, and then I cracked a molar and have like a really bad chipped tooth. And I did have quite a bit of jaw pain for probably the first month and a half, to be honest, which made it hard to eat. And it did take multiple dentist appointments to have my teeth fixed. That was an interesting series of events that I did not expect to happen, especially being pregnant. But being pregnant in Okinawa, they do say the heat here is unreal, and I've always lived somewhere hot, so I was not expecting that at all. You know, it was like, thought I knew how to stay hydrated. I definitely dressed wrong that day, especially for being pregnant. If you are pregnant with me in the summertime, please be sure to stay hydrated. But yeah, I'm very thankful with how that did end up turning out. It could have been so much worse, and I'm so glad that Mason was not with me because I could not imagine going unconscious with my toddler being present. That's a nightmare in my mind. And the next question is, what was my reaction when I found out I was pregnant? Mason and I were on our way to dinner to go meet a girlfriend and her son. And, you know, I'd been telling her that I wasn't feeling the same. I was feeling off. We were making jokes back and forth about, oh, you might be pregnant. Oh, we looking at baby number 2. I was like, I don't actually think you could be wrong at this point. So I went to go buy the test. It was a cheap little 98-cent test. I went into the convenience store, grabbed the test, went to the bathroom immediately. Mason was standing there with me, like, trying to figure out what I was doing. and there was the line. I remember not being so shocked, I guess. I didn't catch myself as off guard as I thought I would. Could not believe it, honestly, because like I said, Bryce and I had no intentions of getting pregnant. I was on birth control for the first 3 months, postpartum, at my 6-week appointment, 3 months after that, and I just didn't want to continue doing that because I had already been off of birth control for years before that, and I was not interested in putting myself back into that hormonal distress, I guess, because birth control and I were never really friends, and I felt like with our track record that I could make it okay. Like 12, 14 months? I think we made it 14 months before this one's coming along. So yeah. Was it planned? Simple answer is no. This was absolutely not planned. My intention absolutely was not to have 2 under 2, but I am excited to have 2 under 2 because that was the question that I continued to ask myself, was how close in age do I want my kids to be? By the time the baby comes around, Mason will be 22 months, 22-ish months, so we'll have a couple months where I have 2 under 2, and they will be 2 years apart. So I am very excited about that in terms of just growing up together. Absolutely had no intentions of doing this, but I am happy that it's happening this way. The next question is, do I have any concerns for this pregnancy? Another thing I experienced with this pregnancy is that when I did find out I was pregnant and I had that confirmation appointment, I was told that my BMI was higher than planned because I was on a slow track to drop my baby weight from my last pregnancy, because I do have a history with disordered eating in, my younger life. So I wanted to make sure that I was doing it on a productive and safe timeline in terms of mentally, emotionally, because I did not want to fall back into those bad habits that I did have previously. So, trigger warning with this, I will be talking about weight, but at the time that I did find out I was pregnant, I was probably about 20, 25 pounds down from the 50 pounds that I had gained in my first pregnancy. So I was making the slow decline. I was proud of myself for that, but I wasn't at my pre-pregnancy weight, which I had no problem with. Like I said, I was very accepting of that, and I had learned to love my body for what it was. Yeah, being told that I was at a higher BMI for the start of my pregnancy was not shocking, but the way they handle it here, I don't know if it's everywhere. They made me do an early gestational diabetes test just to make sure that I didn't already have diabetes. Actually, that is what I think might have also played a part into my fainting accident. I had taken the 1-hour gestational diabetes test. I failed it, barely, but I failed it, and they wanted me to take the 3-hour. So I was doing the 3-day prior diet with high carbs, and I don't eat like that. I don't know who does. Anyway, I was preparing for that, and that's when I fainted. So that also could have played a part into my fainting accident, but I don't know. Because I had that accident, next time I went to my OB, she told me that I had the option of just taking my glucose by myself at home, giving me a glucometer to do so. First thing in the morning, after breakfast, after lunch, after dinner, an hour after meal intake, I would take my glucose, and I had 0 spikes. It did not matter what I ate. I was eating out. I was eating homemade foods. I was eating all the things. So there's no restrictions there. And I showed no signs of gestational diabetes, but that was a concern of mine early in pregnancy because I did not want to have that to worry about. I do have to do my 28-week gestational diabetes glucose test again, which I am not even worried about because, I don't think I have diabetes. It will be good to check, and I will be very happy to check because that is definitely something you want to look out for if you are pregnant. From what I understand, it can cause a lot of complications with your pregnancy. It's absolutely not something any of us want to go through, but it does happen, and it actually is way more common than I realized. So I didn't feel so alone in it when I did have the mindset that I might have had gestational diabetes, and it is very manageable if I did end up with it. But luckily, I do not have that concern anymore, and I have my next glucose test in the next couple of weeks, so I'm looking forward to getting that done and over with. If it does come down to it, I will again be opting out of the 3-hour and doing my at-home 2 weeks again. But yeah, baby is growing perfectly. At my 20-week anatomy scan, he was perfect for the amount of time I had been pregnant versus how big he was. He was measuring at exactly 20 weeks, 4 days, and was 20 weeks and 4 days. So that was good to know. Another benefit, I would say, to having a higher BMI at the start of my pregnancy is that my OB ordered me a 28-week growth scan, which is something I did not get offered with Mason. and it's basically just another ultrasound, which I will definitely be taking advantage of because again, I did not have that option with Mason, and I would love to see what my 28-week-old looks like. I am excited about that, and that is coming up soon. But those are my main concerns when it comes to this pregnancy. What are our family plans for the future? Bryce and I agreed when we first started dating, when we first got married, and after we had Mason, that 2 would be the perfect number. In my mind, you know, 2 just makes sense because 1 for every parent. I don't see myself handling more than 2. Well, I don't think I want to deal with that. So as of now, I'm planning on getting my tubes tied after this, and Bryce is planning on getting his tubes tied after this. Just recently, he's been chiming in my ear that we have to try for a girl. So I can't really tell you what the definitive plans are. I think 2 is going to be perfect. I am very satisfied with the idea of just having 2. That has always been my kid number. I grew up with 2 little sisters. I can't say that I'm looking forward to having a 3rd, but if it happens, it happens. As of now, that is our family plan. I am tired of being pregnant, honestly. I know that I am very fortunate to be going through pregnancy at all, and I am very fortunate to be going through pregnancy so easily as I feel like I have. This pregnancy, in comparison to Mason, I didn't have a toddler when I was pregnant with Mason, so I was on my own schedule, doing my own thing still, and having him to also manage and be around, both really fun but also extra exhausting. Like, toddlers are exhausting. This is a very, very, very popular question I have received by multiple people, family members and friends alike, and that is if the baby will be considered a Japanese citizen. So I was interested to know this myself because we do live overseas. We are from the States. I had no idea how this works. So technically, no, the baby will not be a Japanese citizen. Bryce and I both being from the States, we are not Japanese citizens ourselves, so our baby will not be a Japanese citizen, but I am super interested to see how the birthing process goes here. One of the OBs at the clinic actually was stationed in Tampa previously herself, and she mentioned to me that the hospital here is so much like the hospital in Tampa where I delivered, and she also has delivered before. I was very, very pleased to hear that because I had the best experience, I would say, at Tampa General. I would say that that was probably something on my mind quite a lot, was wondering what the birth experience would be like here, because I really like the aspects of midwives. I really like the aspects of having like patient-centered labor and delivery. I really love that when I was in Tampa, and I don't care to experience anything else. When it comes to birth centers here, I have no idea what my options are. Since we have insurance, I do plan on using it, and I had a positive birthing experience previously in a hospital setting, so I definitely would like to upkeep that. But yeah, we're gonna have ourselves a little Okinawa born baby. Bryce and I were born and raised in small town Mississippi, so to be able to admit that our kids were born in Tampa, Florida, and Okinawa, Japan just sounds so bougie to us. We're like, wow, you guys are the definition of military kids. And the last question I will be answering is if the babies will have their own rooms or will share a room. We are currently in a house that is a 3-bedroom, and one of the bedrooms is being used by my husband, who is a Facebook streamer. I cannot make that man give up a room. I will not ask that man to give up his room for multiple reasons. One being that he just has way too much stuff, and I refuse to let it leave that room, and 2, I refuse to not let that man have a door. That way, when he is streaming, I can close the door if I feel the need. In the beginning, baby will be sleeping in our room. I do have a sleep plan to do the same thing I did with Mason. We will be room sharing. Baby will have a bassinet right next to my side of the bed, and then I'm thinking baby will move into Mason's room and it will become the boys' room. But I'm thinking I will transition baby into Mason's room, and they will share a room around 4 months, possibly after the 4-month sleep regression, just because I remember that being extremely brutal with Mason. But we were also in the middle of traveling and PCSing over here, so I just felt like it all jumbled together between changing of time zones and all that, plus having my infant go through his 4-month sleep regression. I'm interested to see what it's going to be like when we're already in our home and we're not moving around as much. If possible, I would love to move into a 4-bedroom. If we did have that 4th bedroom, I think I would lean more towards making it a playroom, just so that way if one of them is sleeping, they have a designated area they can play. Whereas here, Mason only has the living room, which isn't horrible. He doesn't have all the toys all over the place all the time, because I try to do the toy rotation type situation, but having a dedicated playroom would be ideal. And that is certainly something I will be looking for when we go back to the States. All right, y'all, that will do it for this pregnancy and life update Q&A. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please remember to give this video a thumbs up, give it a like, because it really supports my channel. I am so excited to be back on YouTube. I'm excited to be documenting this pregnancy journey better and more than I did before. If there is something that you are interested in knowing that I did not go over in this video, please be sure to leave a comment below. I will be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. If you guys like this type of content, please be sure to subscribe so you never miss a video from me, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!